Thank you, everybody, for your time today. I'm Chris in the marketing department at Hill International, and I'm here with three of our professionals, and we're going to be talking about women in construction in celebration of Women in Construction Week, and specifically women in construction at Hill International. If everybody could just take a minute to introduce themselves, I figured we would go alphabetical by last name. Let us know what your role is at Hill and what you're currently working on. And also, I believe everybody on the call has enjoyed some industry praise and accolades, or at least within Hill, or client accolades. Please share that as well. So, Becky.
Hi, I'm a project manager, and my emphasis is working with owners on alternative delivery projects. I'm currently working on a police station, a government administration building, and 4 fire stations, all of which are progressive design build projects located in Oregon and Washington State.
Thank you. Vanessa.
Hello, I am the proposals manager for the Southeast Europe, namely Greece, Italy, Albania, and Cyprus. Since June 2018, I have been involved in main proposals and submissions across sectors, including major infrastructure projects in Greece and Cyprus. And recently I have been awarded, and I feel very honored about it, with the award for the first published professional at Hill for my article, The Psychology of the Ages.
Thank you. Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Whalen. I am the Director of Learning and Development globally at Hill. I started in 2007, and at that time I envisioned, developed, and sold the idea of a global learning and development program to executive leadership. I did many presentations to executive leadership. From there, I implemented and continue to expand Hill's learning program globally. Right now, I'm working on a 3-part mentoring program for the US. I'm also capturing Hill's knowledge through our own subject matter experts, creating trainings that we can put into Hill University. So it's not just teaching the industry standards, but we're going to expand it to Hill's standards of best practices. I'm hosting the Global Learning and Development virtual coffee breaks once a month. And each month I create a newsletter, and I use that as a vehicle for corporate services to communicate with employees globally. So we have one for the US and one for the globally. I'm also part of the Future of Work Committee. I'm a co-chair with Todd Cooper, and I've received 4 awards for innovation for our learning and development program over the last 5 years.
Thank you. You mentioned mentoring, Elizabeth. One of the things I was curious about, when everyone came into the industry, were there other women that mentored each of you on your way in? Elizabeth, was there someone who helped you get your feet into the industry?
Yeah, there actually was. I had one of my former bosses. She believed in me. She always felt that that I could do anything, and she always told me that, there's nothing you can't do. And I think that really helped me to reach further, right? To envision things that weren't there yet. And I've had other great mentors at Hill. Roger Bridges was probably one of my favorites. He was tough, to say the least, but he always challenged me, and he always gave me something inspirational. Dennis Allen was inspirational in helping me create the onboarding or the orientation program. And Maury Masucci actually helped me get into safety, believe it or not. So there have been different people throughout Hill that have just been very inspirational for me.
Becky, I know a little bit about your background from the articles we've worked on together that you've authored. Were there any mentors, any women mentors that stand out for you?
Interestingly, I didn't have any female mentors during at least the first half of my career thus far. My former boss, when I was at Bernardo Wills Architects, Bob Wills, he saw potential in me, so he took me under his wing. And I think I was a bit relentless in bugging him for responsibilities, so he just kept giving them to me, and with a lot of tough love along the way. But most importantly, he advocated for me in a company and in a city that were a little behind the curve in accepting women into the industry at that time.
Vanessa, does anyone stand out for you that helped you in the industry?
I would say it was always my colleagues, my supervisors, and all the managing directors that I have worked for. Their door was always open to me, and that gave me confidence to knock on their door anytime I had a question. And I feel very lucky that this continues even now. I feel that, and I have tested that many times. I am knocking on their door, and they always have time, or they make time for me to answer my questions and give me feedback, even the negative one that will make me improve myself. So yes, I had mentors all the way.
The research about the success of organizations in construction and throughout the private sector and the public sector is very clear. Organizations that have women, especially in the higher ranks of leadership, perform better. They have better outcomes. Their employees are happier. Their share prices are higher. I'm curious. I have three leaders here. Do you think there's something specific? And let's start with Becky on this one. That women bring that men cannot to an organization?
I would say fundamentally, women can bring an entirely different perspective with different life experiences, different viewpoints. They inherently have different tendencies and skill sets, which can work synergistically with those traits that are more common to men. And I would say I'm seeing the construction industry move a lot more toward integrated project delivery methods that require an entirely different mindset from traditional design bid build. And that's where I think women bring some critical skill sets to the table. Um, a lot of women have strong empathy, which gives them a deep understanding of what drives and motivates people, and they can build an emotional connection with their teams, maybe more so than men. And they tend to be teamwork oriented, so it's easier for them to lead teams in more collaborative and maybe less authoritarian ways. And so I think adding women to teams makes them more diverse, which always drives greater innovation for sure.
That's a great answer. Elizabeth, in your experience, have you seen some different qualities women can bring?
Yeah, I agree with Becky. I think women bring empathy to a project. And it's not an absolute. I mean, there are a lot of men that also have empathy, but I think by nature of who we are, what we've done, I think empathy and a more holistic approach, a more big picture type approach, because we've always had so many things that we've had to juggle, so many balls in the air that and we've had to look forward, right? We've had to be able to see, okay, what's at the end of this, and look at that in a holistic manner. And again, it's not an absolute, but I think that's something that women bring to the table just by the nature of who we are.
Vanessa, anything to add to that thought?
My personal opinion is that women could be more proactive, and I think they can promote also a more risk-averse approach to decision making. So this brings a balance to the teams and promotes solutions that are best for the team and the projects.
That's a great point about the risk-averse approach. I had not occurred to me. I've been in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. I started on design more than 20 years now. And I remember starting a long time ago at a design firm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And there were many, many women architects, many women designers. And it was just sort of assumed. And as I moved into other areas of the industry, such as contracting and project management, I was surprised to find that there were not as many women, especially not in leadership positions. Over the course of your careers, how have you seen it change? Vanessa, let's start with you.
So the industry has surely welcomed me, I must say that. And I see that there is a tendency to promote diversity in all fronts, in all levels, and hopefully in all aspects of how a company is organized. So I see the tendency, I see that the companies promote this approach, and I'm really happy about it. And I hope they will stay committed to that.
Elizabeth, what have you seen?
Well, I think there was always kind of, I too come from a design background, working with design firms, and Hill was my first true construction, project management firm. And I think there was always a stigma with construction, right? You think back to the days of, you walk past a construction site and the things that would happen. And I think I think women were, it wasn't an industry that was that welcoming to women. I do see a big difference. I think with COVID, it created a sense of urgency for everybody, right? The things that we were afraid to do before, we're not afraid anymore. We're taking those risks, like Vanessa said. And I think with the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement, I think it opens the door for more women. I think we're going to see a big increase in how many more women who really wanted to do this, but we're not too sure. Diversity has allowed that to happen. I think there's 9.1% of all workers in construction are women. I think you're going to see those numbers substantially jump in the next couple of years, because there's nothing we can't do, right?
Becky, what have you seen over the course of your career?
Oh, the industry has definitely come a long way in accepting more and more women during my career. And we finally have a vast pool of experienced women mentoring others in most parts of the industry. That's what I love to see. But when I'm on a job site, I still see very few women working in the trades. And these are well-paid jobs. They don't require a college degree. So I think we need to keep working to attract and retain women to fill that demand for that skilled labor. But I will add that as an industry, we still have some work to do when it comes to improving workplace and job site culture if we expect to keep growing and advancing.
Good point. Hill International, where we all work, we have women board members, we have women senior vice president, we have women in the field that are leading major projects and programs. That's all good. What can Hill do better to make sure that we're including women in these decisions and that we're seeing women in leadership positions? Becky, let's just continue.
It will be difficult for me to identify areas where Hill can do better. I'll say that I have been truly blown away at how receptive Hill's been at giving women equal opportunities to excel in the company. Now, I haven't been here as long as some other folks, but in my first 6 months at Hill, I recall that I wasn't even willing to consider presenting my ideas to my superiors, just based on a couple negative past experiences. But once I got up the nerve, my ideas were immediately embraced and supported, and I was encouraged to keep the ideas coming. It took me some time to get used to that, but now I think it's fair to say that Hill has created a monster.
We welcome the monster. Vanessa, what in Europe, what do you see that maybe Hill could do better?
I will try to answer this question by digging inside. I mean, we have to see what we can do better, because we formed the company, actually. We are the company's asset, and what I would wish for each of us, and for me personally, is to be able to manage my unconscious biases in the workplace every year better, as I did last year. That's the goal for me. I hope that I will succeed.
Elizabeth, like me, we're both in the corporate headquarters. Do you think there are areas where Hill might be able to do better in welcoming women and promoting women?
I do. I think, like Vanessa, I think unconscious bias is a great starting point for everybody. One of the things that I've seen Hill is doing that I don't remember seeing before, maybe it is more to corporate level, are committees. We have the diversity, equity, inclusion committee. We have the future of work committee. And I think that inherently presents opportunities for, more women to join that and to have that voice. that Becky was talking about. So I think that's a great way that we're moving. And I think that everybody is so much more aware of diversity and inclusion now, and the unconscious bias. I think we're open to anything. I think it's just it's a great time to be at Hill, and I think it's a great time to be a woman. I really do.
To conclude, obviously, Hill is lucky to have all of you. We want everyone to stay. Where do you think you see yourself within this industry? Hopefully with Hill, but obviously, where would you like to be in 5, 10, 20 years? Becky?
My goal is to keep finding ways to tap the immense talent and knowledge that our employees have brought to Hill so we can collectively become a team of genuine experts at what we do. I guess that's the nurturer in me. I just love to find out what makes people tick and then help them to grow beyond what they ever expected themselves. And I've spent the last 15 years doing exactly that with that integrated delivery project. The teams that I work with, getting team members to open up, share their expertise and their unique experience with the entire team, so we can find better solutions with every project we do. I guess I could say I'm here to change an industry, and some of my unique qualities as a woman are exactly what I'm using to make that happen.
Elizabeth, you've done an awful lot for Hill during your tenure here. What's still to come?
For me, it's about making a difference every day. It's about, giving something back. At the end of the day, I want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I did a good job. What did I bring to the table? What could I have done better? I try to reflect every day on what I've done and what I could have done and what I can do better. And, for me, learning is everything. I learned how to learn early on. I used to do ballet, and I was a teacher at the time at the age of 14. So I had to learn how to learn. Ballet's in French, right? So you have to learn French. There's so many things, and to be able to create something. So for me, it's about giving back every day. Titles are nice, but that's not what it's about. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I did a good job, and being able to tell my daughter that, to be able to share that with her. We share a lot of those things. How did you make a difference today? And that, for me, that's what it's about.
Vanessa, as you continue in your career, what kind of difference would you like to make?
I would love to see my career advancing through roles and positions, and certainly overcoming new challenges and being part of groups with many team members. And as a personal goal, that I'm not sure how I will tackle it, but I haven't defined it yet, but I would love to see myself not only serve my company's mission and vision, but also become part of the team setting its strategic goals. But that's just a wish, a thoughtful thinking, yes, to keep me going on.
Thank all three of you for your time today. Hill is lucky to have you. I know everybody on this call is going to go on to do great things and continue to do great things.